webinar for the Coalition of Advanced Skincare Education, introducing legislation AB 1153. The mission of the coalition is to create state regulation, licensure, and license protection for a 1,200-hour Master Aesthetic program. In addition, to train individuals in advanced aesthetic skills, safety judgments, proper work habits, and desirable attitudes. And lastly, to increase the competencies as an esthetician, preparing graduates to work in a luxury or medical spa. The coalition has identified that the world of aesthetics has grown so dramatically over the past few years that this level of training will greatly prepare graduates to enter the more luxury and Medi-spas that are popping up and are prevalent within the state of California. So why Master Aesthetics? We know that this field has grown dramatically over the years, while the laws have really not kept up. I fondly like to refer this to other professions, such as the legal or medical profession, where today, if we were training our medical professionals based on 1970s technologies, they would not be able to fulfill their areas of responsibility. And when you look at when aesthetics became a license in the state of California, it goes all the way back to 1978. And that is when an esthetician license became a standalone and not just part of the cosmetology program. So many advances have happened since 1978 that it does beg the question, should we offer more training even within the current scope? And are there estheticians out there that are actually practicing outside of our scope? So this Master Aesthetic bill is going to help us define what is in the scope and create a pathway with additional training to really arm graduates with the advanced education that is so prevalent in our industry today. So what our current law says, under the scope, again, of the law that was created back in 1978, graduates have received 350 hours of manual, electrical, and chemical facials, 200 hours of disinfection and sanitation, very consumer protection oriented, and 50 hours of hair removal, makeup, and eyebrow beautification. Again, all on the very, very fundamental levels. The basic aesthetic course really defines the scope that a license has and introduce basic facials to an esthetician that they can perform. Currently in the law and currently remaining as we move forward, the 600-hour program encompasses facials, microcurrent, LED, microdermabrasions, and treatments from the décolleté above. What the basic program does not include? Well, the Bellus Academy recognized years ago that many of the luxury spas here in Southern California have advanced peels, advanced acids that they're using in their treatments, and advanced equipment. Our advanced program that we created covers a variety of these peels. So not to say that this is exactly what a master's program would have, but the current program doesn't have an in-depth training that covers peels or the advanced understanding of acids that we believe are important in gaining a Master Aesthetic designation. A basic program also does not focus on all of the machines that have been expanded upon over the past few years, such as light therapy, cellulite, oxygen facials, hydrofacials. The list is endless of the incredible companies that have created non-invasive skincare regimes that our estheticians are using in luxury spas and in Medi-spas. Another important element is that in the basic aesthetics, we aren't giving them the knowledge of what plastic surgeons and dermatologists do. The understanding for an esthetician of what they are able to perform versus what a doctor or a dermatologist can perform allows a unique ability to work together to collaborate for the client's best treatment program. So arming our master estheticians with knowledge of medical procedures and cosmeceuticals, pharmaceuticals, and exactly what medical professions do allows them to be a great collaborator in a Medi-spa, in addition to advanced physiology of the skin. So the simple differences between the 600-hour and the 1,200-hour that we are trying to define is 600-hour estheticians can work on the skin, epidermis, from the décolleté up. And a 1,200-hour master esthetician will be able to work on the entire body. So this includes body wraps, includes cellulite treatments, many things that right now are not well defined, but yet require some advanced training in a master's program. AB 1153 creates a separate scope for each of these licenses, making it very clear what each profession is allowed to do. So as on one of the previous slides, we talked about the basic 600s will still be allowed to do facial, will be allowed to do waxing, utilizing some of the machines that are available, microcurrent, LED, etc. AB 1153 is not meant to curtail the currently permitted scope of the esthetician. So that is a very important thing that the coalition is focused on, as we want this industry to continue to flourish and know that many estheticians are currently operating a wonderful career. But the master esthetician would have an expanded permitted scope that earn the privilege through additional knowledge, additional education, demonstrating that they've worked in the industry and that they have the mastery to pass a board-designated examination. New students will have the option then. So going into a Beauty and Wellness Academy, they can select to just take the 600-hour basic course, or they could select a 1,200-hour course. The bill does not address the creation of a separate just 600-hour master's for the advanced portion, because within the current law, individuals that wish to take a larger program would have the ability to have their basic program applied to the longer program and therefore just take the advanced 600 hours. So that would be something that individual schools could be authorized to do within the current scope of the language that is already in effect. Grandfathering is a very important topic that the coalition is working in collaboration with the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology, as well as other interested associations. We do strongly believe that AB 1153 will allow master estheticians to do procedures on the full body. And we recognize that because our current law is so vague, there are other estheticians who may already be currently doing so many of the things that will now be in the Master Aesthetics law. Our intent is to provide a grace period in which experienced estheticians would be allowed an opportunity through possibility of an affidavit, additional education, or other pathways to demonstrate that they have the experience to become a master esthetician. The path would consider their experience, their knowledge, and would allow them to take the Master Aesthetic license so that they could be called as a title, a Master Esthetician. We are extremely honored to announce that the California Board of Barbering and Cosmetology voted on Monday, October 21st in support of AB 1153 and delegated to the board executive director to work in collaboration with the coalition to create and enhance the language as the bill moves forward. This board has had in their minutes a discussion on the need for a master esthetician license since 2009. And the board is extremely pleased that the coalition was created and formed to be mindful of a creating the right pathway and process to support the development of a Master Aesthetic license. In addition, we have collaborated with the Professional Beauty Federation of California. Fred Jones, who is their Executive Director President, spoke on behalf of the Federation at the last board meeting and spoke in favor of 1153. The PBFC and the board staff are very engaged in other discussions looking at industry-approved certificates to validate advanced training. And we are in discussions on how that might be included and incorporated into AB 1153. Now for a little history of Master Aesthetics. Utah was truly the first pioneer that launched the Master Aesthetic license in 2011. Virginia then launched this in 2007. And Washington State, most recently in 2013, gained approval. The Bellus Academy recognized the significant difference in medical spas and luxury spas back in 2006. And thanks to the advisory board, the Bellus Academy created its own version of a Master Aesthetic program that was within the scope of the aesthetic language currently today. The Bellus Academy then took on the process of receiving our Bureau's approval and our accrediting body, NACAS, and in 2009 launched a program. NIC, which is the testing organization nationally, has a test for the Utah Master Esthetician, and they gained access to all of the Bellus graduates to take that exam in California to provide the graduates of the Bellus Academy Master's Program with a license. In 2013, this became a challenge as Utah added a practical exam to their written exam. And so unfortunately, our Bellus graduates, if they wish to have a Master Aesthetic license from Utah, must travel now to Utah. So this is another compelling reason that Bellus has been embracing the coalition and one of the co-founders trying to elevate California with this master's designation. Utah, as we mentioned, launched it in 2001. Now this took over 6 years through their regulatory process, and today we'll talk a little bit about the regulatory process in California. But thanks to Christine Heathman of GlyMed and many others within the state of Utah, they were able to successfully, again, after 6 years, create a Master Aesthetic license. The most significant difference between what we are trying to achieve in California compared to Utah is that Utah took a bold step to add laser into their scope. And the coalition is not in favor of infringing upon the medical industry and adding laser. So that is a large definition between what Utah did and what California will do. Our Master Aesthetic program, we believe, is within the current scope and does not border into the medical industry. In Utah, it's interesting to note the 2012 statistics on their graduates. 2012 is the last reporting statistic that we have from Utah, and within their 600-hour programs, there's only 9 schools that offer the 600-hour program, while 14 of their schools offer the 1,200-hour program. And some of those obviously offer the 600 and 1,200, but 5 schools only now today offer the 1,200-hour program. And you can see that the greatest number of graduates have selected the 1,200-hour program versus the 600-hour program. This has taken years to grow and mature to this level, but it is exciting for the hopes of California to see that many graduates and many students are embracing the lengthy hours that will enable them to graduate with greater expertise in the world of aesthetics. Medi-spas. We have seen a dramatic increase over the past decade, and especially in California. And the International Spa Association, from a report we found back in July, showcased that from 2002 to 2010, 1,500 medical spas have opened in the U.S. That is a trend I think that we see and will continue to grow throughout the next century. Employment and income. We know that many estheticians working in these Medi-spas and luxury spas have significant income opportunities compared to those that are in just basic spas. Unfortunately, there are not a lot of statistics to showcase this information, and we are working hard as a coalition to identify some. Some of the facts we were able to find, thanks to Murad, there are 1,023 plastic surgeons in California, many of which have estheticians working side by side in their offices, performing the post and pre-treatments to support the plastic surgeon treatment. Spa Finder, which is a national organization that provides coupons and gift cards for spas throughout the country, primarily known for their day spas, but yet it's interesting to note that in California they do have both hotel resorts as well as they have medical spas. More facts about our California program currently in California for the aesthetics. 2011 is the last reported year that we have, and there are 1,663 graduates. 1,110 of those are placed based on the school's data that was reported. Now you can take that and look at that in two ways. One, maybe a number of individuals wanted to gain their aesthetic license just to practice at home or just to be more sophisticated in their knowledge of skincare. The other side is maybe some were not able to be placed because they lacked the information, they lacked the education that many of your top spas and salons require. Another fun statistic comes from the Monthly Labor Review, and at the bottom of this slide you can see the actual article that this was taken from. But over the course of the next decade, from 2008 to 18, they are projecting a 37.9% increase in skincare specialists. This trend we see as a very positive one, and one that will support the desire for us to add a Master Aesthetic designation. We know that the baby boomers are looking for ways to look and feel younger, and they primarily prefer the non-invasive treatments, and those are the ones that a Master Esthetician can perform. Here is a quote from one of the graduates of the Master Aesthetic program from the Bellus Academy. Karen recently graduated, and upon graduation received a position with the Kirsten Florian International Organization, a highly respected manufacturer of beautiful advanced skincare. She felt that her training was extraordinary and was the reason that she was given such an amazing opportunity. And we're really excited that this type of employment was made possible because this student took a 1,200-hour Master Aesthetic program. So, is Master Aesthetics designed for all California schools? Well, no. Many day spas offer wonderful employment and great jobs to just basic estheticians. Many communities have beauty schools where there are not luxury or Medi-spas located within their communities. And a number of graduates become specialists in areas that don't require advanced training. Waxing, brow bars that we have seen all over the nation crop up, or makeup artistry in a salon or a licensed institution. So these are all reasons why keeping a basic 600-hour program still is of significant merit. How would you know if you were a school if this program will benefit you? Well, like the Bellus Academy, we would highly recommend that you survey your local spas, host an advisory board meeting, work with associations such as iSpa or Spa Connection to identify top spas within your area to invite. Survey your graduates on the value of the additional advanced education. Ask them if they have taken advanced education after graduation. Would they be interested in coming back for an additional 600-hour program? So in review, to obtain a Master Aesthetic license, the bill is intended to provide a clear pathway for existing licensed estheticians to be grandfathered into these licensing requirements. And again, as I mentioned, the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology, in addition to the Federation, is working in collaboration with the Coalition, our lobbyists, and interested parties to support language that would allow this to happen. The bill is now in process of being introduced into the 2014 legislation process. In January, the language that we will continue to work on with collaboration again will be introduced first in the Assembly. Ms. Eggman, who is an Assemblywoman in the California state, is our sponsor, and Senator Mark Weiland is the co-sponsor of this bill. It will first be heard in a variety of committees in the Assembly. Once it is approved and passed out through the Assembly, it will then go into the Senate, into the Educational Committee, and many other committees. Once it is approved and passed through the Senate, it will then be placed on Governor Brown's desk for signature, and then that is how a bill becomes a law. This process, we estimate, will take from January until next August or September. And during that time, there will be many, many initiatives that we will be asking you to support us on. Then the bill, once it is signed by the governor and approved, it will become active as of January 2015. It is then the work and the role of the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology to write the regulations on how this will be made effective, and then it will go into a process of timelines to create the license, to create the testing language, and to really allow schools the opportunity to add this into their curriculum. So that is part of the process. It is a very lengthy process, but we are hoping that this will not be a 6-year process. We are very, very supportive of the fact that our California board has voted to support this, and so we're very encouraged and believe strongly that this can happen within this next calendar year. So let's review who is already in support. We do have a vast, diverse range of individuals who have joined the coalition, from beauty schools to manufacturers, doctors, spas, associations, and consultants. Here is a list of some of the beauty schools. So again, my name is Linnell Lynch. I'm president and owner of the Bellus Academy. We are also pleased to have Didi Corset, who is the owner of the San Francisco Institute and a previous board member of the Barbering and Cosmetology. She's been a wonderful advocate and supporter of this bill and is a great member of the coalition because she knows the inner workings of what the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology has to do as it relates to rules, regulations, and laws. We are also very pleased that the ASCP, the Associated Skincare Professionals, became one of the initial partners of the coalition that has tremendous information on skincare and skincare professionals and members all over the country who recognize the support of advanced education. Dr. Murad was one of our largest first contributors to the coalition. And then you can see companies and associations such as the Spa Connections and spas here that are members. So what we need from each of you is once we move forward and we know which committee we will be in front of in the Assembly, we would like to ask that you write letters of support. And that will be posted on our website in terms of the timing and the individuals that we would like you to address those letters to. In addition, we do need to raise funds to support this effort. Lobbying and putting a coalition of this magnitude is not an inexpensive endeavor. To date, we have raised $30,000 prior to the formation of the coalition. Those funds were utilized to hire the lobbyists to create this legislation and to work within the Capitol to identify our supporters, as well as to identify the authors to carry this bill. And since July 1st, which is when the coalition was officially formed, we've raised $40,000. So the coalition has to report every one of its contributions. So to that extent, we have an assigned attorney that is managing the coalition to ensure that we are within all the political proper guidelines of making sure that our lobbyists are in order, speaking on behalf of our interest in the coalition. We do expect our total amount of expenses to be $160,000. On a monthly basis, our average is $8,000, and that covers our lobbyists and our legal fees on a monthly basis. All of the funds raised only go towards supporting the lobbying efforts and the legal efforts. Any of us that travel to speak for the coalition or on behalf of the coalition, all are doing that at our own expenses. So this is truly a very direct cost and expense of the coalition, and we have very, very strict, high confidentiality behind exactly what we're doing and transparency in terms of where the funds are going. So we ask you today to join the coalition to protect and strengthen our California licensed estheticians and their scope of practice. For more information and to join us on all of our social media feeds, please visit masteresthetics.org. On that website is the address where checks can be sent in support of the coalition. And again, my name is Linnell Lynch. I'm the proud president of Bellus Academy, member of the coalition, and here is my email that you can send me an email for any additional questions. But I would like to ask that we open this up right now for questions. So we are testing this webinar service. So again, we'll open up the lines, and if someone has a question, you can either type it in our live chat, or you can discuss it now. So we welcome your questions. And I'm here with Joanne Berry, who is our Director of Spa and Wellness and also a member of the coalition. Are there any questions?
I think you explained everything really well, Linnell. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Who was that? Oh, that was Tracy.
Tracy Paul with Murad.
Oh, lovely. Hi, Tracy.
Hi there. Yeah, we've got a group here listening, so thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. We are extremely excited about this opportunity, and we strongly believe that if California takes this on, being a nation that looks to California for new innovations, that this could be a watershed moment for the entire country that could also take California's lead. So we are very excited and honored to be working on behalf of all the estheticians in the state of California. Well, if there are no further questions, the email is there for you to directly communicate with me if you wish. And please go to our website, and your contributions are greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.